Right, welcome to a new video. Today we're going to talk about this nonsense. Chris Fix, he made a video like a week ago. I'm gonna fill in the lore here for those who don't know yet, even though I'm pretty sure most of you probably will. He basically made a video showing that he had a lot of graphics cards that basically had a ripped GPU die, like here you can see on the image. And that's indeed very worrying. So his initial theory was that it was possibly caused by drivers, and yeah, obviously that made a lot of people nervous, so they awaited his part 2 video. And his part 2 video is nothing short of wild. I mean, good lord. And it's wild for all the wrong reasons. I'm just gonna say that right now. He made some insane conclusions, borderline. I have no idea how he came to these conclusions. So, and I'm also pretty sure he pissed off AMD at this point. So yeah, let's dive in and not actually watch the entire video because it's over 20 minutes long, and I really don't feel like doing that entire thing, and I don't think a lot of you actually care to do that either. So one of his statements was that, oh, drivers not being able to change anything in the firmware, etc. So it couldn't be it anyways. The driver cannot destroy a graphics card, right? As we all know, that's completely untrue. Now, this is why I have Igor's lab open, because you can literally, and I mean literally, plop in some, soft power play tables in your registry, and it literally takes priority over the actual V-bars on AMD cards. Way, who would have thought that, right? So you can do stuff like this. You can set the max GPU, you can set the VRAM memory speed, you can up the power limits like 90% over what it was stock, you can set the VCore, all these kinds of things you can do with the, essentially with this beautiful, soft power play table, which, is rather scary, but yeah. Just pointing that out here. So essentially, while you can do this, and it's fairly easy with something like a more power tool and whatnot, personally I don't recommend this for those who are interested in doing this, because essentially the benefits you can get are diminishing returns at best. Your card will run way higher out of spec, and you will potentially break it over time. So don't really do that. But yeah, I mean, driver could totally kill the card, because essentially driver tells how the card is running, not the actual VBIOS, so no idea why he thinks the driver cannot damage anything. But I will give him points for the fact that it's very absurdly unlikely that a driver can cause this particular defect. Normally when a driver does things, it'll probably blow up something in the VRMs or maybe a resistor or something like that. We have seen tons of examples on NVIDIA equivalent cards. What happens usually, it can kill the GPU die as well, depending on, what's exactly happening, but you will never see a die ripping like this. So that, at least there, at least I agree with him that it's very unlikely that this kind of damage can happen with a driver in the first place, which that conclusion is something he should have had in the first place. So I'm not sure why he first now got the idea that that would be a thing. So let's go to his wild conclusion, which, oh boy. So, first of all, he just claims, oh yeah, he thinks they're all from the same miner or something, because, lack of proof, make weird statement like that, just because apparently all cards are from end of November, start of December last year. That means that, or previous year, I don't know if it was like 1 year ago or whatever. I think he meant 21. So, yeah. At that point, I'm just like, okay, just because that it's the same miner, that makes no sense whatsoever. And then he also says, oh, the cards are, clean, no dust, sealed, nice, which again just completely destroys the fact that this was from a miner, because have you ever seen a mining rig with 50 cards that you're actually applying? There's no way in hell that they're going to be clean. They're going to be dusty as hell. So the fact that they're sealed and clean already kind of goes against whatever you say at this point, that they are from the same miner, because, they should be dirty, or at least the seal should have been broken because the miner has cleaned them up later on. So yeah. Then another wild theory is the fact that, oh yeah, but because when he gets chips and he doesn't, completely dry the chips, that can, you know, blow up the chips, because when he solders it on, then, you know, over time there can be some water left, and then the water can evaporate and basically blow up the chip, which from a physical standpoint makes sense, but from his own reasoning makes absolutely no sense, unless he literally says that, or literally, he's literally implying that the same miner has, you know, taken this GPU out, magically cleaned them, never opened them by the way, desoldered the GPU from the package substrate, left it somewhere humid, and then when he was selling it, he was literally soldering on the GPU die back to the package substrate, and that somehow blew up the GPU die after you used it a couple days. If that makes sense for anyone, then you are crazy. Then you literally believe in magic. Because no miner on this planet is going to desolder the actual GPU die from the package substrate. It's not going to happen. So his entire reasoning makes absolutely no sense. And the idea that, oh, if you store it in cold and humid places, then that would, you know, that would logically do this. Okay, first of all, how would water even get under, like, you know, between the die and the package substrate? Second of all, how on earth would, when the water can go in, how would, you know, warming up the chip not just, you know, make the humid water, the fluid or whatever, just, you know, evaporate at the same place where it would, you know, come in the first place? You know, again, it doesn't really make much sense at this point now, does it? His theory kind of doesn't hold water, if you catch my cold. No, now when I look further into his reasoning, I don't know. I mean, how does he expect notebooks to actually work? I mean, notebooks are constantly exposed to cold and humid weather, and you don't see them blow up like that, and they run really hot. I mean, good lord, I've never seen a GPU die rip like this in a notebook. So how exactly does he explain this then? Are these magic GPU dies? Are they different? What's going on here? So again, his entire theory really doesn't make sense if you just think of it logically. You don't need to be a techie to actually get to the conclusion that his theory just doesn't make much sense. And I get it. It's intimidating, right? You know, he repairs these things, so you assume, oh, he knows everything. But guess what? He's still human. His theories can be wild. And his theories are wild. I think what happened here was simply he, you know, researched himself into hell and basically just like, okay, I need to come up with something. And then he just made that. I mean, so also something that I really wish people would stop doing is saying, oh yeah, this is because it's a mining card. It's not because it's a mining card. I hate to say it, but this is not because it's a mining card this is happening. This cannot happen on a mining card, or it's rather unlikely to happen on a mining card, because what usually happens, what is the defect on mining cards, are the VRAM chips, because they're the ones that are getting utilized the most. That's the one that gets, you know, overclocked and get tighter timings and shut voltage into it because they have to perform. Those are that gets your hash rate up. The GPU die is irrelevant. They're usually in minor BIOSes, they're usually downclocked and undervolted to the absolute limit, so they just draw as little power as humanly possible. They don't give a fuck about the GPU die. So the entire reasoning that people think, oh, this is because it's a mining card, is absolutely insane again. But this again, I mean, you're not experts, so you shouldn't know any better. You're just parroting because you heard somewhere that mining cards are bad. So this is bad, so it has to be a mining card. Not very great logic. So for the love of God, guys, when you see a video like this, just think logically. Does what he say make any sense? I'm pretty sure AMD is upset at this point, because this guy just made something insanely wild, like an insanely wild story up, with no proof whatsoever to back anything up. And the worst part is, people believe it, because he repairs these things. For the love of God, guys, chill the fuck out. Everything he says, some things he says make sense. His entire theory, you can throw in the bin, it makes no sense. I'm pretty sure at some point you will realize that he was actually just insane by saying this, because it makes no sense whatsoever. Now, my personal theory, if anyone's interested in that, honestly, considering these were mostly reference cards and they're from the end of November, start of December, some year, I don't know, probably just a bad batch. There you go. Very simple. Happens. We have seen it. Nothing new. We have seen RTX cards blowing up, literally smoking. We've seen everything. It's just probably a bad batch. We have not seen this as being a very common thing at all. So I don't think you should pay any attention to this, because if this was way more common, we would have seen in the AMD subreddit long time ago. People would have complained, oh, why is this dead? Why is it dead? We have not seen over, you know, over amount of AMD cards dying yet. Unlike, you know, the heating issues on the 7000 series, we have seen those, so we know those are things. But we've never heard of a, oh yeah, GPU ripping until this guy came along. So yeah, probably just a bad batch. They happened to probably be purchased by some scalper or whatever and then being sold, and you know, this batch just happened to be a piece of shit. So there you go. It's honestly, that's my theory. It's the most safe and sound one as far as I can tell. But again, I mean, it doesn't seem very common, doesn't really happen anywhere. And his entire theory, I'm sorry, but that makes no sense whatsoever in my eyes. So that's just my take on this. Stay safe, guys, and don't worry about your AMD cards. I'm pretty sure that it's going to be just fine. So stop, you know, being scared of using your PCs. Just use it as usual. Don't worries, like no worries about that. So yeah, hope I can put your mind at ease. And next time when you watch videos, please, for the love of God, do the logic, the logical test. Just think for a moment, does what he say make any sense? I mean, even a non-techie should very easily come to the conclusion that what he says is very, very, very weird and strange. You don't need to be a tech expert, you just need basic understanding of physics. So, yeah. That's it from my side, and I hope AMD can be a little more happy about, you know, there's some people common sense. Yeah. By the way, nothing about Chrisfix. I think he is a terrific guy, but this was not his moment. People make mistakes, and I'm pretty sure he just overworked himself with this entire thing of trying to figure out the reasoning, and then he just, you know, came to the wildest conclusion because, you know, I'm pretty sure he's tired of it himself. But that's just a conjuncture I'm making. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's other reasons. I don't know. But yeah, that's it from my side. Bye-bye.